Boy, this new Walther League Constitution is really something else. I didn't even know we had an old Walther League Constitution.
What's this about Article 5, Section B, Paragraph 4? Why did they change that? I never knew it existed in the first place.
Yeah, so why change something nobody knew existed?
I don't know.
What a mess of legal terms. You have to be a lawyer to understand this mess.
Yeah, and we're supposed to vote on it at the Purdue gathering. Is everyone supposed to stand and cheer when Article 5, Section B, Paragraph 4 is mentioned?
Yeah, let's hear it for Article 5, Section B, Paragraph 4.
That's crazy.
I know it. Maybe we're not supposed to worry about all this stuff.
I got it. Maybe all this stuff is like a house, a building in which a person can live. You know, maybe it's to keep the rain off our heads.
That's it. It's like a house. I mean, we live in a house, but nobody runs around talking about 2x4s and joists and plumbing and circuits.
A house is to live in.
That's the question. How are you going to live in the house? Isn't that the real question?
It should be a good house, too. It's been standing for 75 years.
What has?
The Walther League.
Well, if it's been standing for 75 years, why are we messing around with it now?
Maybe we're redecorating, bringing it up to date. 75 years ago, we didn't have TV sets or electricity.
Or indoor plumbing or garages.
But when they built houses in those days, they built them to last.
Right, so all we have to do is redecorate. Bring things up to date so we can live in it like it's supposed to be lived in.
How is it supposed to be lived in today?
That's the question. How are we going to live in the Walther League today?
That was the question which the 6 Walther League regional volunteer staffers asked as they came together in March 1968 for their initial briefing. Listen in now as we give you excerpts of their spontaneous conversation and their spontaneous singing.
We need a new program.
What kind
Not
of
even a program, but just we need a new start.
We need an issue-oriented program.
Kids are kids are changing. The whole world is changing. And our Walther League was older couples, It's for younger kids now, and they're completely new ideas. And so now with this, with this new movement, everything is going to be youth-orientated.
The movement started outside of Walther League, I think, just in the fact that our whole generation is trying to find meaning and purpose, and is asking a lot of questions. And to be a ministry, of youth or for youth or something, well, the Walther League has to do this too to be anything real.
Another thing is that the church, I feel, is starting to realize that youth are the church of today, and not as we've always heard, this is the future church growing up in our midst, and we must protect them. But we are the church.
We want to break away into the world, right? We want to get out.
Does that mean getting away from the church?
No, we can take the church with us.
The church is in each one of us. Your body is a temple for Christ to be in. Christ is in you. You are the church, your own personal self.
We need a new start.
As youth, we don't have the answers to any of the issues.
Right.
No matter what it is, we have, and this is why I was wondering when we were talking about youth-led ministry. Okay, it's youth-led, but it's not a ministry to only youth. If we want to accomplish anything, we have to take, kids have time, and maybe because of our time we have patience, and we're alive.
We go, like for instance, if you go into the inner city as youth, we're not saying that we have the answers.
Yeah.
We're going to make a lot of mistakes. It's not as if you're going to hit all the slums. You're not going to solve the slum problem. You're not going to solve the racial problem. But you just might hit upon one person, one child, that your love of Christ will maybe come through.
We've taken world hunger, and that's our goal to solve. But in trying to solve that, we're going to solve, maybe, or help to solve, a lot of other problems along the way that we don't even see right now.
Or at least address ourselves to.
We're going to help solve a lot of problems that youth in general have. Finding who they are, what they want out of life, facing life exactly the way it is.
Kids are more ready to say, I'm lost. Because by the time you're adult, you've got a job, you're sort of situated.
To know the answer.
Right. And see, and that's what I think the whole thing is, to tell adults, Man, you don't know the answers. No one knows the answers, really. You just got to sort of work from a situation like, who knows the answer about world hunger? No one. No one knows the answer how to solve world hunger. I mean, the most brilliant men in the world have been talking about it, and they still don't know the answer. But what you can do is find for yourself, maybe in searching for this answer, one portion of your life, maybe to make your life, not solving the answer. But I think one of the most important things is to realize it.
Yeah, and make an honest attempt at really getting down to things and developing this brotherly, so-called brotherly relationship with everybody else on this earth.
What are some ideas y'all have for doing that? How are brotherly relationships established? What are they based on? Love. Well, what does love come out of?
A one-to-one relationship.
Yeah, right.
It's
How?
based on being open to another person and trying to understand it and accept the other person just the way they are.
Taking and
It's
giving.
just about the most difficult thing there is.
Realizing that you're both just as sinful as each other.
And yet you're
the bottom
beautiful
is right there.
because you're
Yeah.
forgiven and the sin doesn't matter anymore.
Right, you've got this in common. It is kind of a communion.
What else do
Kay
you have
said-
in common? What else you got in common?
Did you catch
Talking
what
very
Kay
abstractly,
said
what
though
concrete
about
have you got?
taking and giving? This is what we're going into. We're through like world hunger. It doesn't make any difference what issue we pick up. By giving from us, we are taking back from that
So
an awful
many
lot
people.
in learning and experience and just proving to ourselves too that we can't solve these things, but that we just have to try.
It's like you're saying, all the dead ends you hit before you realize that God is at each dead end and that you just got to depend on that. I mean, you could get just hopelessly depressed about the hunger problem, which isn't the thing to do. Because no matter how many programs you get, no matter how many failures you've got, like you said, God is at the dead end to bring you back up again and start all over again. And His love is there, bigger than anything that you've ever experienced. And some of that love should be shown through you as a member of the church.
Does world hunger necessarily have to be getting food to people?
No, I mean,
Because we are hungry for
a lot of other things, yeah.
other things, maybe even worse than food in a lot of cases.
It's not so much the idea of giving. We are going to give everything that we've got, and yet the idea that we're receiving so much from the giving is in here too, so that it's got this mutuality that we were talking about earlier. In the Bible, you never hear very much about Christ going to the synagogue on Sabbath and all that. He was just out in the world being with people and talking to people and finding out about their problems and healing them and giving them food and stuff, and just living love to people. And this is what it meant to him to be the church.
You have just heard from the new Regional Volunteer Youth Staffers of the Walther League. We believe that you have equally important ideas about youth living Christianity that's for real. Perhaps you want to set up a tape recorder and do as these youth staffers did. Turn on the recorder, select a moderator, and think and talk together about issues in your own lives and the lives of all of God's people. How will your Walther League or youth group redecorate and rebuild to discover and act on issues where Christ's love is needed in your community? And please do send a copy of the tape to 875 North Dearborn, Chicago. We are interested.